Welcome to this episode, Prophecy for the Last Hour. My name is LizMcGee. Shalom and blessings. So I have a quick, hopefully, going to be a rather quick impartation of some understanding. I'm building on, last week I was talking about body, or the soul, or let me just not go back because there's so many, water, spirit, and blood. You should listen to that YouTube because these are kind of code words that are talking about, again, on the tree of life. This is the arrangement of the universe that our prophets who wrote our texts have. That's what's in their mind. That is their understanding. So as they're using these words, even a prophet or an apostle like John, which the verse comes from, was a highly initiated Essene prophet, a person of his generation. So he is in this stream of transmission. He knows the words. It could be like the keys to the kingdom. He understands what's behind the parabolic language. He was obviously taught by the master teacher himself, Yeshua, haMashiach. All right. So, but flipping that around now, I go back and forth between the way the words are used anthropomorphically and the way they are used kind of scientifically, because, I'm not going to go on this rant today, but I am preparing a rebuttal, a very strong rebuttal, again, to my teachers out there who continue to trash and badmouth, and they're like the bad shepherds who muddy the water, make it all stirred up, dirty, and kind of undrinkable for the rest of the sheep. Okay, that's what's going on in terms of Kabbalah. I'm going to make two quick points because that's not the focus, but I am going to do a very extensive rebuttal. All right, because unless you understand the deeper mystical understandings that is in our text, you cannot lead the people to the place we need to go, especially as we enter this time of the change of the aeons, the end of this aeon into the millennial aeon, all right? But this is a North American problem, all right? By and large, I have discovered this through friends of mine, that let's just say the Kabbalah was very extensively kept, recorded, redacted, disseminated. Great schools of Jewish Kabbalism existed in Spain for many, many, many centuries. And of course, at the time of the expulsion in 1492 and different things, they were dispersed into the whole earth again. This has been a recurring pattern of the house of Judah, right? They're exiles. They went from Babylon, in the 2nd century when they left Israel. They have to leave the land at 70 AD. They went to other parts in the Near East, Babylon being a primary one. They had to get out of Babylon around the 10th century, all right? And that's when they moved into Europe. Okay, so this is all documented history. But my point being that there are a lot of Messianic, Kabbalistic believers in Spanish-speaking worlds, especially South America, out of Spain, that whole southern part of who are teaching, redacting, and enlightening a whole generation on Kabbalah, but you have to be Spanish. Like, I have a good friend, and she's like, oh, Liz, I wish you could listen to this guy, this Kabbalist, this Messianic Kabbalist, but he speaks Spanish. Unfortunately, that's not my primary tongue, okay? So, and the same thing in Israel. Kabbalah is very known, accepted. I mean, no Jew doesn't recognize that this is an absolute tradition of writings within their genre of writings. Now, not everyone is going to pursue it to the level of a Torah sage or Kabbalist, but they don't deny it. And case in point, in 2006, there was this whole story, which is still kind of breaking news, reverberations of Rabbi Kaduri when he died. He was one of the greatest Kabbalistic rabbis of the last centuries, probably 3 centuries, all right? He was totally revered, loved, renowned as a Kabbalist rabbi, okay? And when he died, he said he was going to reveal the name of the Messiah, the Moshiach, which he did, which pointed to Yeshua, and that firestorm is still raging all over. But the point being that I'm making is other pockets of the world have no problem with Kabbalah. All right. For some reason, in the Messianic and Hebrew roots and Christian camps in North America, and especially just in America, they go ballistic over this. All right. So this has become a stronghold. This is a demonic net that's been placed around, and the ones that are being really hurt are the sheep, who would probably love to and would love to, because many of them have broken through the think tank and have contacted me. All right. There are many people who are able to think for themselves and critically, but a lot of people don't, and they rely on teachers. That's why teachers will be judged more harshly. So I also want to say to you, Ephraimites, teachers, who even though you think you're Messianic now, you think you're Hebrew roots, you want to come back and be just like Judah and, wear the kippah and the tzitzits and practice the feast and do all this kind of stuff, and yet at the same time you still want to dish the main body of Jewish writings. You just really don't know what you're doing to your own soul, and to the sheep. Now, what that led me to, so I keep going back Kabbalistically between the anthropomorphic language, Yod He Vav He, as it's used anthropomorphically, which talks about, the mother, the father, the son, and the daughter. Okay, now this can be this, and all the language that gives Yahweh, hands, and he has feet, and he gets angry, all this kind of stuff. And the science, which is why am I making this? Because the largest group that I believe, okay, there's two levels going on here, that are moving into Kabbalah. Many people are moving, unbeknownst to themselves, are moving into Kabbalistic core understandings through the New Age, through modern guru teachers who are teaching much of the concept of you reap what you sow, is teaching much of how the cosmos is wired, all right? But they're not giving any credit to Yahweh Elohim. They're not telling you that this is the system that the Most High God put together and instituted, and it works for saint or sinner alike. We're all under the same, well, I won't say cosmic laws, but they're there, all right, for everyone. And so many people are being introduced to this in a repackaged way, but at the same time, many people, science is coming to the same Kabbalistic core conclusions, all right? So that's why I want to pick up today a little bit, because everybody should know that Hebrew is the language of creation. And I'm talking about it as a pictograph, as in its core essence, as it was the Hebrew letters. I was looking for a little note. You should see my desk. The core teachings are that Hebrew letters, the 22 letters are a letter and a number. All right. So let's pick up on the idea of math, how the universe is structured. My whole point in doing this is because if you want to avoid, quote unquote, the mark of the beast, which everyone has been trying to figure out, which now I understand now for my total understanding, how the way it's coded, we're talking about a created, because no one can really create, but for all intents and purposes, we can create things. So this is a given. Let me just summarize it. Yahweh creates, he's the only one. But made in his image and likeness, it's like I can create. I'm a painter. See this painting in the background? I'm a watercolor artist. That's my day job. That's my tent maker job, like Paul. Okay, so I do watercolors. So I put them as my backdrops. All right. But I created that. Okay. Now, does that make me God? No. But it shows that I am in the image and likeness of Elohim, and that I can take materials. I can take things, raw materials, paints and paper, working with my brain and my sight and I can create something. That is a very Adamic human phenomena that no one else, no other species, animal, plant, or mineral on the planet has those level of programs, right? You never really see ants creating skyscrapers. You know, they do create at a level, but we have kind of this boundless, and as time goes on, we've created greater and greater things, and we're now at this technological, we've pushed ourselves up against this technological wall where, I mean, they're telling us now the next step that is AI. We've created an artificial intelligence, meaning a whole world of intelligence, intelligent operations that is controlled by computers, but and I'm not going to try to get to this. Okay, this, which now people are, okay, so the mark of the beast, this is the world of the mark of the beast, okay? This technological AI world that is rapidly approaching and closing in on us, where they are, you know, and I call they, I mean the Luciferians, who else? Those in league with Lucifer, those who are trying to destroy and ultimately destroy the soul, because as I said before, it's our soul that's at stake here, the souls of the sons of Elohim, sons and daughters, all right, the children of Elohim. And when they go down, everybody else goes down with them, all the other created species, the other living souls. Okay, so there's a lot at stake. These three, the 666, is actually another kind of coded way of saying, you know, because a lot of people I know, they don't really understand this whole concept. I'm talking about the tree of life, that the 5 levels of the soul, the 5 worlds. But if you take the lower 3, which is Asiyah, the world of physicality and matter, the world of Ruach, the world of Yetzirah, which is the astral world, which is our soul, our mind, our emotions, our memories, a lot of these things, and the world of Bariah, which is the Nefesh, or I'm sorry, is the Neshamah, which is the higher world of the mind, all right? Because anything I paint, let me just say, it doesn't start like, okay, I don't get a finished product and then backtrack to my mind. It comes from my mind down to a finished product here in physicality. That's the way it always works, all right? So these 3 worlds, but the world of AI, they're creating a world that looks like it can totally mimic those 3 levels of man's soul life. But praise Elohim, for those that are interested, there are 2 levels above it. The world of Atzilut, which is, and then the world above that, which is the world of Yechida, which is the world of Moshiach, all right? So if you buy into the 666, you have bought into really a lower dimensional universe, create in a falsely created one on top of the one that Yahweh made. And, you know, if you end up choosing that one, it's not going to go well with your soul. That's what the Bible tells us. But the thing that has to happen in order to save people's souls, the majority of the souls, is to explain to them how science and Kabbalah are really saying the same thing, so that people have, you know, explain the hope that is in them. Why you don't have to take this mark of the beast and become part of this. You can reach for something higher. I will tell you, this mark of the beast, why it's referred to those who take the mark die, because there is no life in it. Life, chai, hey, however you comes from the world of Atzilut, all right, which is above, it's the world just above the higher Neshama, all right? So praise Yeshua, Yahweh, praise the Moshiach, all right? He is life. That's the point. That's why he said, I'm going to come and rescue you, because he has life. We have fallen into the cycle of death. Well, he comes from the world of life. So he came, and he is going to come again as life, and all those who have entered into that covenantal relationship will be able to make the jump, so to speak, out of. I know this is all can seem like a mind game, a play on words, but you understand these are the theologies. These are that our ancients used and wrote the scriptures to tell us, to warn us. Because one of the things the scripture says is that basically everything was written for this time. This is the culmination of everything. All right. So, so as these sages and prophets and the mystical minds, great mystical minds within our tradition have retained this understanding, kept it coming forward, and have tried to warn us. All right. But these fundamentalist, literalist, who want to keep us in this box that nothing has, who don't understand Hebrew, don't understand the way of the text, and are trying to tell people, just because they don't understand something, because it does take a lot of brain power, thinking, meditating, reading, studying, trying to get the bigger picture, trying to elevate your consciousness to the level that these prophets were on. Oh my gosh, it's not for the faint of heart. But there has to be an army of elect out there who will do this, who can do this. This is a high calling, because we have to have an answer for the hope that is in us. And if we can explain to people why science and Kabbalah, true science, all right, are merging, all right, are beginning to come to well, look at it this way. Our mystical understanding has always been with us. It's these secular scientists who are coming to many of the same conclusions, but again and again, they are leaving out the living Elohim out of it. They don't want to give credit to, they don't want to bend the knee now to Yahweh, Elohim, all right? And that's their issue. But there's going to be tons and tons and tons and tons of people who are going to be ready, willing, and able to do that, all right? Now, let me get into, oh my gosh, this. So one of the things that's so interesting is that the Torah, right, is a cosmic code whose mathematical like notation. Before I quote this is what I've been over and over again, okay? And this is what is in Kabbalah that people don't understand. So if you don't understand what they're doing with letters and numbers, and don't just be able to say, I don't get it, all right? But don't badmouth, because see, I want to tell you, every sin will be forgiven except the sins against the Ruach HaKodesh. So just in case I'm right and you're wrong, you should bear that in mind, okay? So with the 22 letters, they really are creation forces. They are frequencies. They are represented by Hebrew letters, okay? They are the tools. This is the understanding, the background of it. They are tools used for transferring spiritual energy. All right. Remember, everything is spirit. Yahweh is spirit. Hello. Okay. This is what we can never lose sight of. In all of this language, even though we use anthropomorphic language, you never leave off the fundamental understanding that it's still, we're talking about spirit. All right. Incorporeal, ethereal, something of its essence. All right. It does not have physicality. That these letters are used for transferring spiritual energies all the way down into something that is finally created and invisible and functions and has a purpose. And, whether it's a blade of wheat or, an animal, a person, or, my painting came from my mind all the way down through my hands. I was the craftsman. That's how it's being used, who created that, all right, using tools, brushes, paints, pigments. If I was the creator Elohim, I'd be using the letters. It's the same kind of concept, all right? And there are many ways in which, all right, so now that you understand, okay, so that the understanding of these letters, and why you get the 32 name of God, so letter name. All right, and this is another thing people don't understand. What are they doing? They have a 4-letter name of Elohim, the Tetragrammaton, which is really the most condensed for, Yod, He, Vav, He, for the 4 worlds. And then there's a 32 name, of Elohim, they'll tell you, which is the 22 letters plus the 10 Sephiroth. Okay, because 10 and 20 is 32. All right, then they go on their 72 names. There's a 50-letter name of Elohim for Bina, for the word Elohim. Okay, so what are all these Kabbalists and what is all this telling us? It's telling us kind of the formulations that are the spiritual formulations that are in creation. All right, they're not separate from Elohim. They're not, you don't worship them as a, this is just all part of the process, things that we can know and understand and appreciate and be in awe of him. All right, the flip side is this very same process of combining, you know, letters, you know, with the X's and O's, this whole computer world, this whole world of CGI, this whole world of artificial intelligence that is truly coming down upon us, all right, is created, is from the very same principles. Okay, so this is why I'm saying 666. It's not that they're not. And let me just tell you the mark of the beast. The beast is a code word for talking about, okay, so Adam was made higher than all the animals, all the other angelic orders, all right? So the beast, Hasatan, is a beast, okay? He is a created lower than the Adamic, but we had a problem in the fall and things got switched around. But so this really is fallen angel technology, absolutely correct. And so he is using much of the way that the universe operates to create a sub-universe within that and put it as a lockdown upon the human mind, soul, conscious, emotion, and physicality. You can't buy or sell. I mean, this is a lockdown system, all right? And only those who can call upon the name of Yahweh will be able to be saved out of it. So this is where you have to understand how the name is the world of absolute. It's a name. Your name is your essence. It's your core being. It is life. See, these concepts all dovetail beautifully one into the other, but you have to have this understanding, okay? So now that we understand that the Torah is really a cosmic code, okay, whose mathematical like notations is a string of equations that all together constitute one very large equation, which in turn are all condensed into the root formula of Yahweh Vav, which is the name of Elohim. Okay, remember, some people have been with me and seen my little I don't have them, I should have had them, my little stacking balls. It's the same concept. And this is the concept of fractals. This is done so deliberately that you put in, so you put information inside, a subset inside a subset inside a subset inside a subset, and it can be just infinite, right? This is the concept, the kingdom of heaven within. It's very counterintuitive because it's not out there, people. It is in us. That, what we see out there, the sun, moon, the stars, that's just like the hardware, all right, seriously, of the spiritual energies. They bounce off those things. They use those things. They're part of their electrical hardware, all right, that is used to animate the created living soul, all right, that we're talking about. Now, so this is where numbers are so important, because it is a formula. I could never crack it in a million years. I mean, the rabbis, they have some pretty incredible formulas and understandings of relationships between the Sephiroth, between the letters, between the left side and the right side, the male and the female, which is nothing more than force and matter, heaven and earth. I've been through a lot of these concepts. Okay, but again, just scratching the surface, truly, of where, oh my gosh, it's past finding out. But the concept is totally sound. Now, sound is, so once this whole world was really, because we've had ancient civilizations, this is the point. technology, this understanding has been surfaced in, actually there's been many aeons. It's always been a rise and a fall, a use, misuse, destruction, recreation. I mean, this is a pattern, all right? It's in the text. But where we are today, the thing is that the scientists are trying to repackage it. I said this to us, and not tell you that this is very ancient knowledge and that it's just all by happenstance, you know, it's all math, you know, these insanely mathematically precise things happen in our world, and it's just chance. I mean, you know, hey, you just chance. What can you say? You know, I mean, oh my gosh. But anyways, once thought by many as fanciful thoughts, this idea of letters, okay? So again, I shouldn't have started there because I don't have to explain what that meant. The idea that the mysteries of the universe can be explained by mathematical equations, in effect, Hebrew letters, which have numerical values, okay, is now a fundamental precept of modern physics. Okay, when they discovered the quantum world, and that just quantumly leaped their mind, and they realized how intricately these fractals go into everything. It's amazing. Creation is portrayed as the unfolding of the divine language from the Sephiroth into ideal letters of the spiritual realm, which are then impressed upon the physical world. This is what it means to hew and to engrave. See, if we had the true, this is what, I won't even get into that, but to burn something into, I can't even get into, this is why fire, there's so many things. It amazes me how scientifically accurate the ancients were and the language they used to describe it, and how we have just so lost it, and all we can do is kind of make fun of them, thinking that they were, when the total opposite is true. Whatever exists in the world must first exist in divine form in the divine realm. Nothing can exist unless it has its root in the Sephiroth. This is a basic Kabbalistic principle. But this is what they're finding. They are finding these kind of root systems, all right? In quantum mechanics, everything is attached. Everything. Now, let me just get into some of these concepts. Let me get into, because what they have discovered, so what you have here, again, and I've been through this a lot, there's the visible world, the invisible world. Letters are visible. When you read something on a page, you're visibly seeing something, but what's invisible is always been the vowels. This is why, people get upset with the Masoretic text, like, they just started, inserting vowels, and I don't know what, when they said, no, they changed all the meanings of things. No, they didn't. They used to keep it in their brain. This is how you don't understand how an oral tradition is a superior form of transmission of information, but because of the exile, because of them getting so spread out all over the world, everything in text, they were so, we have no idea how many texts were burned. You don't understand book burnings of the Jews, their texts, oh my gosh. They were so afraid the information was going to get lost that they did start to redact it. This is the whole concept of redacting Kabbalah, they're redacting the Sefer Yetzar, all these writings, okay? Now, things in for something, so you always have mass and energy. This is what, they will tell us. And everything is either one or the other, and it can change. Mass can become energy, energy can become mass, but the thing that they have found out, that it cannot be created or destroyed. And that is the first law of thermodynamics, okay? See, this is why the mark of the beast, 666, what I want you to, don't even think about it. It's such an inferior system. This is, oh my gosh, if people would just get out in nature, these kids today that are going to grow up with these little helmets on, thinking that this virtual world is like the end all be all, because it really does feed on instant gratification. It's kind of a brilliant scheme in a little bit of a way, is knowing how our fallen nature, it feeds on our fallen nature, which loves instant gratification. But the point is, anyone who gets out of the box and looks at nature and understands the larger picture here, there's no comparison, all right? There's no comparison. But so mass and energy, are the same thing. They're matter particles as atoms, which would be the letters, can be converted to non-matter, which are forms of energy, which would be the vowels. See, this is the language they're doing. You can't take it literally. These are just kind of words that are expressing theological, spiritual concepts that actually, because the world, Elohim is spirit. He created a world, okay, that is finally here in physicality, but it's way more, there's way more depth to it than anyone can ever imagine. I mean, inside. So he says the kingdom of heaven is within. If we really understood what was in us, oh my gosh. All right. But the 32, this is why, and I've been through some of this, I just want to touch on this, that the ancients had a thing, the letter, the alphabet, the aleph, and bet talks about the Elohims Bet, all of the letters, okay? It talks about how by three things creation was made. By numbers, and there's 10, we know that there's a decade, there are 10, I believe I don't know if it's ordinal or cardinal numbers, I can't remember. See, but you have numbers that the 10 will make all the combinations that there are. An alphabet, the 22 will make all the combinations that there are. And then there is what is also, which is voice, which is vibration. So you have light and sound, all right? And then you have like digits, or you have the code, the DNA of the whole thing, which is the letters. All right, and it gets very deep. They have, these are called the three mothers, the 10. So I don't want to get into that. You do have, there's 3 mothers, 7 doubles, and 12 elementals. I mean, it's incredible how precise and accurate and brilliant this whole understanding has been codified and is, okay, but it takes a lot. But we would use words like, okay, so you have letters, you have voice, so you have sound wave, you have light wave, and then you have matter. But they've also coded this, like I said, these 4 worlds, are coded as earth, air, fire, and water. I've been through this a lot. The same solid, gas, plasma, and liquid. You could call it, the gravitational laws, the thermal laws, the electrical laws, the chemical laws, all right? You have, in the 3 mothers, what I was talking about, this kind of, you have, and this is the whole core of the beast kingdom. It is based on computer CGI technology, and it's based on, X's and O's, a neutral, a negative, a positive, and a neutral. So you have the point, the X and the Y, you have the proton, the neutron, the electron, okay? And you have, the wave, you have 2 waves, sound and light. Okay, so this is all language that is describing what I'm going to go into now, which is describing what is called the 7-fold spirit of the Lord, which we know would be Yahweh. So this is why, to me, having this understanding is paramount, and also telling me why there is such a spiritual, because this anti-Kabbalah rhetoric that is coming out of so many Hebrew roots Messianic teachers is so vehement in North America. Because, again, I believe America, we're not Babylon. We have tons of Babylon in us, all right? We are just, right now, we are probably the lowest. Well, we are the lowest we've ever been. But I believe scripturally, I believe that in the reunification, reunification of the 2 houses, Israel and Ephraim and Judah, we have the potential of rising up and becoming the powerhouse center to save those in the nations that want to get away from this beast kingdom, okay? This is what the battle's all about. That's why it's so friggin' fierce today. Oh my gosh. The propaganda war. This is why. I don't know who some of these teachers are. I don't really know who they work for. I mean, I shouldn't say this stuff, but I look at me. I'm just, I'm a woman. I'm a watercolorist. I'm not a Jew. Don't know Hebrew. Why Yahweh would put inside me this insanely burning desire to understand these mysteries. Go figure. But the point is, I am going to be relentlessly to try to break through this stronghold that is over people, because it is Satan is trying to keep America from fulfilling her destiny. Okay? The world still does look to America. All right? And if we could get our act together, all right, we could rise up and be like Ephraim, like the leaders, the team leaders of the 12 tribes, okay? That's the plan. But without the mystical understanding, we can't do it. It's like cutting off really your two legs. I mean, because the tree of life, the two legs and the feet, this is the lower world. This is where the mark of the beast, this whole thing is. So if you cut up that spiritual understanding, you don't have any leg to stand on to lift people higher. Oh my gosh. So anyways, the spirit of the sevenfold spirit of Yahweh, okay, I had this paper I came across this years ago. Someone my producer, when I used to produce at a TV station, gave this to me. He was a nuclear physicist, and his boss, gave him a paper that he was a strong Christian, gave him a paper in which he had done a lot of studies correlating, and he saw this. A lot of people see this at many levels. They just won't go back to the source. Be that as it may. All right. He saw this world of nuclear physicists mirrored in the Bible text. The same words were describing the total similar realities. So he wrote this paper, and for years I didn't really understand. I would read it and I go, I know this guy's getting something here, and I get it too, but now it's really coming to me as I understand the Sephirithic tree of life. You understand the top three, the mother and the father, so to speak, that are outside of the creation. Vav, the Vav of Yad He Vav He, what that represents, and the final He. All right, it's not arbitrary. There is huge theology established, okay, in these letters, okay. But he broke it down: the spirit of wisdom, spirit of understanding, the spirit of might, the spirit of the fear of the Lord, the spirit of knowledge, and the spirit of counsel. We know spirit; these are divine energies. This is all part of the sun. Okay, the sun as I don't even know how to, in a short soundbite, try to explain the relationship of the sun per se, so that a Christian could wrap their mind around it, because it's not the Trinity. It's not just Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Like I said, I'm going to do a teaching on the Trinity, but I'm not quite there yet. But it's not accurate, people. I'm sorry, that's all I got to tell you. And that's why so many of these anti-Kabbalistic teachers out there, they are trying to teach in a way that, like, Yeshua came to form a religion called Christianity. And I'm like, by now, any researcher who's worth it should understand that, wow, that certainly got shipwrecked, that the state of Christianity today is not a reflection of what was started by Yeshua and what was being practiced and carried forth, for the first, let's say, 150 years of the church, okay, of this Jewish ecclesia. Okay, so for these teachers to continue to try to defend Christianity in almost in a replacement theology way, and try to pit, you don't want to get too Jewish, you don't want to go there, and that Christianity is its replacement theology. So this is not, in my opinion, this is disingenuous, because if you do the research, which isn't, there's hundreds of people online, really and truly, who have done the research and are putting out this understanding, that the root bears us, okay? We didn't, and we need to get back to the root, all right? And this mystical understanding, this is the root. So so this was written by Isaiah. Now, let me just put in Exodus. I don't want to read those verses per se. It'll take me into a whole rabbit trail thing. But the spirit of wisdom, they know that there's different kinds of matter now. Not all matter in terms of the energy, all right? Energy level. And I will tell you another thing, that to a certain extent, when you get all the way down into the world of Yetzirah, the world of our emotional, and this is why it's so dangerous today. It's another whole thing. Why getting people to let me put it this way, their core processor, if we're going to use the computer, people's core processor that they operate from today is totally the world of Yetzirah, which is totally the soul, which is totally the world of the emotions. Okay, people are emotionally making all of their decisions, their worldviews, everything. It's not based on what any civilization, even 100 years ago, on logic, on reason, on established truth. Most people, the 10 Commandments. Now everything is like water. It's unstable. It's fluid. It changes. Gosh, you can wake up one day and decide you're a different sex. Okay, I mean, nothing happened. You're just in your mind, in your emotional level. You just decided, you're gonna turn your boat and your powerboat into a sailboat. Good luck with that. All right. So, anyways, this is the problem. Okay. And the only way we're going to fix it is like to go back to Torah, to go back to the fundamental. Well, okay. I'm not going to preach, anyways. But they have found out that spiritual energy in this category is angels. This is what the Bible is always called, as angels. All right, they're intelligent, spiritual, living soul energies. It's exactly what they are. And they live, they're ethereal. They don't have corporal bodies, so they're able to move up and down. It's like when they have a much greater range of motion, and they do have the ability, especially when they're sent on assignment, so to speak, to come down into physicality. But they can't stay here. All right, they can come down for short little visit. Many have entertained angels unawares, but they cannot live here long term. Okay, so that is when you have the spirit of wisdom. This guy kind of equated these to what they know vibrationally and mathematically and scientifically now as different states of energy. So you have spirit of wisdom, and he defined as metamatter, photomagnetism, that operates through the cisternal associative cortex. It is at the vibrational level of the beta waves. Okay, you have the spirit. Now I don't know if this is all. I mean, part of me is I'm a theoretician. I am not a scientist, but boy, wouldn't I love to find some people that I could work with who could take this and double check this from a scientific point of view. I mean, okay, there has to be people out there like that. Okay, Yahweh is raising up all kinds of people for all kinds of jobs. We've got to get this job done. The spirit of counsel is ergo matter. Atomic binding. Okay, so I was going to say the spirit of wisdom he equated to photomagnetism. The spirit of counsel to ergo matter, atomic binding energy, the theta waves. All right. Then he went to the spirit of knowledge, which is known as mesomatter, which is nuclear binding mass. I mean, tell you, this guy was a nuclear physicist. He wasn't, all right. It relates to the delta waves, in the body, pituitary gland. See, I almost wonder if he was a secret Kabbalist, because see, this is what they do. They equate these things on so many levels. So there's also a correspondence to an organ or a part of the body and to one of the systems in the body. Okay, so the spirit of wisdom was metamatter, which is photomagnetism, which operated through the thyroid gland, which is the nervous system. Okay, you have the spirit of counsel, atomic binding energy, theta waves, the muscular system. All right, you have the spirit of knowledge, mesomatter, which is nuclear binding mass, the delta waves, the pituitary gland, and the skeletal system. Okay, and this is another thing the Kabbalists say. There are many systems. We are electronic, biological, magnetic, systems. We have so many systems that are constantly working at light speed in our body all the time, in our different soul levels all the time. The spirit of understanding, photomatter, photoinertia, the alpha waves of perception, the pancreatic system, the digestive system, the spirit of might, which he equated with antimatter, that magnetic field, the kappa waves, the adrenal glands, the vascular system. And he ended up with the spirit of fear of the Lord, which is basically matter, the electric field. And we know that our brain and how we perceive is nothing but electrical signals. So they do say this, that you are what you hear, what you see, what you speak. I mean, that's the reality that you're creating, the combination of all those things. Your perception of all your five senses radiates out and creates your world, so to speak. This is sort of the holographic understanding. Now, anyways, the electric field, the RHO waves of respiration, the reticular brainstem, and the reproductive organs, and the endocrine system. So this is what this guy, a Christian nuclear physicist, ferreted out of the word. This is highly Kabbalistic, and this is this understanding. Don't think that this is the point with the mark of the beast and fallen angel technology. They are able to use to manipulate up to a certain level the laws of that are out there for nefarious. It's obviously presented to us. I mean, there's nothing positive about it in the text, for nefarious purposes, to kill, to steal, and to destroy the souls of Elohim, the Adamic man that he, so this is why. But the flip side is, like, have at it, guys. I don't care. I understand this is the point of higher consciousness. I know what my Elohim is capable of, and I know what he has promised me. And I am promised in the world to come, the Olam Haba, which is the world of absolute. I mean, this whole thing is just quite beautiful, and it's all very circular, all this language, and it all relates to each other. And so my original point was, as I delve more and more into this and understanding it in the code words and the theology, that this is where we need to go. And there is an army of elect out there. And if you have fear, the fear, we're not talking, there's two kinds of fear. And you understand, there is a positive, there is a negative. There is the positive fear, the awe, and he says, look, don't worry about those who can kill the body. Worry about me, those who can kill the soul, okay? You need to fear Elohim, but at the same time, Satan is working to get us to fear things that, would make us afraid. So people, this is why cowards have no place in the kingdom of God. That's why it says in Revelation, those who practice magic arts, which is all of this, what I've just been talking, the mark of the beast, the fallen angel technology, it's all the same thing. It's sorcery. Magic is really just very advanced technology, okay? So don't buy into that. But see, I do this and then I forgot how to finish my thought, where I was going with that. The fear of the Lord, we don't need to fear Hasatan. We need to fear Yahweh in the sense of, like, what is at stake here, all right? And cowards will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Like I was saying in the book of Revelation, those who practice magic arts, those who liars, which is all these secularists out there, and people who want to dish the mystical writings, all this kind of stuff, and say that it is not a totally valid, deep but valid understanding for the children of Elohim, but cowards. There's so many people out there, oh my gosh, and I talked to who like, oh, don't tell anybody I'm really a Kabbalist in the sense of I understand, I see it, I buy into it, I'm studying it, but oh my gosh, don't let me ever say anything publicly, don't, because I might lose subscriptions, or people might not like me, or might want to, I might get some of these hate comments or whatever. Cowards will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. So I say, rise up, O men and women of Elohim, and let's get this job done. So anyways, that's my rant for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And, I'll be back. We're going to keep going. I appreciate the little flock. Subscribe, like, and share. And may Yahweh always bless you with his mighty sevenfold spirit of Elohim.